Hi, and welcome to the big debate. I'm Masachaba Lekalake. Rhodes has fallen. Or rather, his statue at the University of Cape Town is gone. Thousands of black and some white students were sick and tired of being watched over by the main man of British colonialism in the Cape. But will Rhodes's removal help black children to get a college education? And what does Rhodes's falling actually mean for the way that all South Africans live together? To debate this, I'm joined by Kumani Makwele, the original Rhodes Must Fall protester who defaced the statue at UCT, Adam Habib, Vice-Chancellor of Wits University in Johannesburg, Mahlubi Mabizela from the Department of Higher Education, Shahira Kala, the Acting President of the Student Council at Wits, Bandile Masugu of the ANC, formerly the spokesperson of the ANC Youth League, and Ernst Roets of AfriForum. I'm also joined by student leaders and activists from many campuses, and we have an audience full of South Africans from all walks of life. Welcome to you all. You at home can also join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter. Before we begin, take a look at this.
Cecil John Rhodes arrived from Britain in 1870 and made his fortune from De Beers, the diamond company he founded. An ardent colonialist, he once told the Cape Parliament the native is to be treated as a child and denied the franchise. Fast forward to March 2015, thousands of students staged protests and sit-ins demanding the statue come down.
What the students are demanding is that the universities become African, and that means we need to change everything from who writes the textbooks, who gets to teach those textbooks, how the courses are structured, and who gets to be part of those lectures. But importantly, what we need to understand is that you cannot decolonize a university as long as you haven't decolonized South Africa.
Africans make up less than 10% of teaching staff at UCT. At Wits, whites hold 55% of teaching jobs and 57% of senior management posts.
Transformation has many dimensions, and I want to immediately acknowledge that the area where we're making least and slowest progress is the area of academic staff.
The Rhodes Must Fall movement ignited a spark on campuses across the country. Other colonial statues were defaced. Some Afrikaners took offense.
As mense dink dat hulle kan beelde vernietig en beelde besmeer en so wissel die geskiedenis uitmaak uit die fout van hulle lewe.
The ANC government was caught on the back foot.
If you go to Union Building today, there is a huge Mandela statue. Where change has to be effected, change is effected. The question is, how do you do it in such a way that even those who believe in the kind of symbols and persons you don't believe in, don't feel that they're treated as unimportant?
Even some black students questioned the movement, pointing out that Rhodes donated money to establish Rhodes University as well as the Rhodes Fellowship at Oxford. But finally, on 9th April, UCT gave in and Cecil John Rhodes came tumbling down.
History in the making.
Despite Rhodes' demise, the majority of black South Africans are still excluded from higher education by poverty and discrimination. Rhodes' legacy lives on in companies like De Beers. And even Nelson Mandela had supported projects established in Rhodes' name.
I think the message from Rhodes Must Fall is a very clear pushback against Mandela's Rainbow Nation project, and I think what this says to the powers that be, and that implicates the ANC, white monopoly capital, it says that we need to do some real accounting. We need to make sure that South Africa is one that actually affirms the black majority.
All right, Mahlubi. Clearly, there is a very tangible sort of anger on the ground, and it doesn't seem to be going away. The idea of the Rainbow Nation doesn't feel to have trickled down to where it matters most, and that's with the youth of South Africa. Has government failed in its idea of transformation?
Well, yeah, to me, my response would be, in as far as what the department has done, no, we haven't failed. But we'll be the first to accept that there's still a lot that needs to be done.
How long do you envisage that it will take to transform the staffing and management within universities in South Africa?
In some aspects, it should have changed already. In some aspects, our institutions have been very slow and reluctant, some of them. But in some aspect, we need to be careful, you know, because you don't just want to transform and replace professionals who are there, or academics who, you know, who've got the knowledge and also the skills and the experience.
Adam, I mean, there is absolutely no excuse for Wits to be so white. When can we begin to see a bigger representation of black teachers and management of over 50%?
So let's decode that. There are a couple of things. One is at our staffing level, we're probably about 80% black at the administrative and professional staff.
Let's talk about management.
Well, at the management level, at the senior management level, the top 10 positions, 7 are black at the moment.
Right. But
let me finish.
Okay, I'll let you finish, but we got to get the statistics correct.
Right, so
the whole of management.
The whole of senior management.
The whole of senior management.
The whole of senior management, and that depends how you define it. If you're looking at director level up.
According to your statistics, 50% are white.
At the top end, senior management level, what you have is 50% white. At the academic level, it's probably 65 to 70% white. Now the question is, why 21 years after the transition are we in that position?
All right, answer your own question if you may, please, sir.
The first is, you cannot have professors and associate professors if you don't have black PhD and master students. In the 1990s, we were putting too little money into postgraduate scholarships. So the only people who ended up going to do postgraduates are people who could afford it, and upper middle class people in the South African context are white and Indian. And then it seems to me that there has been not enough pressure from unions and others on changing that. So it seems to me that this is a shared problem.
Kumani, do you buy this?
Well, I mean, as Rhodes Must Fall, we are not pleased with that. I mean, the very notion of transformation. What do you mean, Professor, by transformation? We don't know, you know, what do you mean? I'm sure you've got a different meaning from us as black students. We believe the realities. Therefore, we don't know. You're speaking vague to us. Now,
what do you mean by transformation?
Hence, for us, we are using decolonization. Decolonize. Transformation, the term itself is not ours. The moment the term becomes embraced by white people, it becomes a problem. Now we reinvent. Now we're reinventing now decolonization, and when we reinvent that, we are saying black first. That's our position. Point of departure.
White's out.
Sorry?
White's out.
No. Don't talk on behalf of us.
And I'm asking.
No. Okay. One of the successes of Rhodes Must Fall was to be able to tell white people to do what we want them to do. We told the University of Cape Town, remove the statue. Within a month, they removed it. Because to us as black people, it was insultive. And as part of that, those progressive white students within us, we told them to sit down and listen. And they sat down and listened. And those who were not prepared, we kicked them out without an apology. That's our success. Now, when we say decolonize, transform decolonize the whole structure of the university. Hence, we're saying at UCT, the Senate, the council is the problem. At UCT, you've got Hugh Amo, the registrar of UCT, who was the registrar during apartheid. How do you expect such a person to transform a university? Hence, we are saying transform decolonize that.
All right, Ernst, you seem to be slightly uncomfortable with this. Am I reading your body language wrong?
No, you're reading it correctly. I think personally I have an interest in the history of Cecil John Rhodes because my great-grandfather was almost killed in one of the British concentration camps. So I believe that Afrikaners as a community also have a very strong opinion, negative opinion of Cecil John Rhodes. But despite my personal opinions, I was not rejoiced when I saw you on the news vandalizing the statue, I was not rejoiced by the UCT this remove the statue campaign, because I think it's disingenuous. Because
why do you say it's disingenuous?
Well, in the first place, this campaign was inundated with racist, anti-white slogans. You yourself have been expelled for that.
All right, let's give him a chance to speak.
The second reason is I've never heard you guys complaining about...
Which slut? A racist slut? Which one? Just cite
You
one.
can read the news. You can read your disciplinary documents.
But let Ernst finish, but in all fairness, you need to be prepared to articulate your point. Ernst, go ahead.
No, but he knows. He's just trying to get me off.
It's not about me, it's about the audience.
In a second.
This is a man who said white people are not welcome on the campus, that white people must leave, who allegedly, according to media reports, which you deny, who allegedly said that white people need to be killed. So that's the one reason. The second reason is I've never heard you complaining about names or statues that are offensive to minority communities where they really have a reason to complain. One example, the renaming of the main street of Amanzimtoti to Andrew Zondo. Andrew Zondo was an ANC Jeugliga member. He planted a bomb in the shopping center. He killed 2 ladies and 3 children. Now they renamed the main street after him. That's an offensive name because there are people living in that town who have been murdered by the man after which the mainstream has been renamed.
All right, Ernst, but do you accept that things must change?
What do you mean when you say things must change?
I mean exactly that. I mean that it is high time that we see greater representation of black people in senior management positions. It's high time that we see more black students in universities. Do you accept that?
You're going to... Let me qualify before I answer because you're going to quote me out of context. Yes, universities must be inclusive. Black people need to have access. They need to have more access to universities. But the problem with this transformation debate is that the focus is on the wrong place. It's an output-based focus. We're saying if 90% are black and 8% are white and so forth, then we have achieved equality.
No, that's not what we're saying. That is not what we're saying. We're saying let's give equal opportunity to students,
action policy is based on.
Students who've worked hard enough to make it into university, not to be isolated out of these institutions because of money.
White and black.
Shahira, help us.
Yes. Well, I think, Ernst, I really disagree with your terminology of using or saying that the Cecile John Rhodes statue was vandalized. Firstly, because ideologically, when you look at the person that Cecile John Rhodes was and what he stood for, black students throwing poo at his statue is not vandalism.
According to the
it's
law,
justice. It's justice. He deserved every bit of poo that was thrown at his statue.
What Ernst has just done is absolutely out of order. We can't allow the likes of him and AfriForum to take our focus away from decolonization and tell lies about our history. There is no way Andrew Zondo can be regarded as a terrorist. He knows that himself. Rhodes Must Fall has put decolonization on the table. Now we must attend to that in a very substantive way. There must be a clear focus on how we finance education, such that actually it is free up to university level.
One of the successes of colonialism and apartheid was the epistemicide or the destruction of the indigenous languages. When we want to deal effectively with matters such as transformation, it would mean that it must start when children are still at kindergartens as to how can we now groom children in an African way. And we must not listen to the honorable gentleman from the Department of Higher Education because he's misleading the country, he's misleading young people. It is disingenuous of him to say that as the government they haven't achieved. In the University of Witwatersrand, where Professor Habib is a vice chancellor of, you had 54,000 applications. Spaces that were available, it was 6,400. Now, if you say that doors of learning and education are open to young people of this country, what do you mean?
So let me give you the real numbers. We had 60,000 applications, 5,800 places. You think that's bad? You applied to medical school, we have 9,000 applications, 200 places. And that replicates itself in institution after institution. So those are the real numbers. But I think we need 2 sets of conversation. One is on the transformation question. I believe in decolonization. I believe in majority rule at student and staff level. I believe that we should decolonize the curriculum. Having said that, I think we must do so thoughtfully. Because somebody said in that opening panel, you can't decolonize the university if you haven't decolonized the society. And that's what I find when people throw rhetorical tools, transform, indigenize languages, without thinking how you do it. How do you finance higher education in a context where the state has been underfunding higher education for 20 years?
Fair enough. Panache, so it isn't really Adam's fault, is it?
First of all, there's a condescension of saying that students don't think through what they're saying when we say decolonize. Then to use it to say, hold on, just wait, is a problem. So I would not like to be have my words used out of context in that way. I don't mean just wait, because we've been waiting for 21 years.
Yeah, in all fairness though, should we not be partly blaming the government for not funding enough students?
Beyond funding, I think, first of all, we have an issue starting right at 1994, because we have an issue when we talk about transformation. We say, you know, it's saying add blacks and stir, right? That's what you're saying. You don't actually change, right? Because he's saying he's got 7 out of 10 in the management is black. But understand that those blacks are still colonized, because those are the ones who continue to perpetuate the same kind of racist institutions, right? To say, when we talk about decolonization, it's also a mindset. We're talking about the intangible. It's also about our mindset.
So I'm also just a little bit confused, because you call yourself a coconut. Why is that?
So when I speak about coconuts, I understand that I'm the kind of person who the Rainbow Nation loves, right? Because I speak so well. People like myself are often co-opted into these things, right? People say, oh, she speaks so well, she's not like other blacks, right? And some of us enjoy those positions. We like not to be like other blacks. We like to be separated, and we get used, right?
So are you saying that 7 out of 10 in the senior management are being used?
Who funds a university? Who's on the Senate Council? Who actually makes the decisions at the end of the day? So I might have a position as a black person, but do I actually have power? Which is why we problematize things like BEE, because we have a lot of black people sitting as CEOs, but do they actually have power to affect any change? They don't.
All right, thank you very much.
One of the challenges is the universities themselves, because they undermine the black academics. Universities don't give black academics opportunities to become professors. But I think to go further, I think it's important when we talk about transformation to think that the color is a proxy for transformation. That is very dangerous. For instance, the DA, the fact that we've got Musima Emane, that does not mean it's transformation. It means assimilation. And we must understand the difference.
Not everyone, by the way, especially not every black student is for Rhodes Must Fall.
Absolutely.
Why is that?
I do not like how it was conducted. I feel like it could have been done in a less undignified manner. Yes.
How? What do you mean by that specifically? Do you mean by defacing the statues, or you mean defacing the statues with poo particularly?
Actually both.
Okay.
I don't think they should have been defaced in the first place. Maybe we could have had like conversations before and whatnot.
But I think they've been having conversations.
You cannot determine how people have to protest. Yes. If you decide your form of your protest is to throw whatever, I agree with the social movement against Rhodes.
But Bandi, the ANC has to take responsibility for not transforming the universities.
Not necessarily.
The ANC has to take responsibility for not transforming society.
No, let's cut in. It's important to say that I think I agree with Prof here when he says that people who undermine the complex nature of the 1994 breakthrough in necessary fact mean that they don't understand what was going on in the country. The good thing about the campaign on Rhodes Must Fall is that it has brought us to a debate to say that little transformation has happened. How do we accelerate it?
Let's leave it right there. When we return, we talk about the connection between Rhodes and Mandela. Intrigued? Then don't go away. Welcome back to the big debate on the fall of Cecil John Rhodes.
Decolonialism, for me, needs to be some kind of a double movement. So as we destroy the statues that represent colonialism, we need to affirm are African heroines and heroes. So as a Wits student, I have a problem with Wits University not celebrating Robert Sobukwe, who not only was a student at Wits, but taught at Wits during apartheid. We don't celebrate Winnie Madikizela Mandela, who was the first health social worker in this country. So those people need to rise.
I think that for transformation to occur, we as the students need to effect change within the management. They might be black because our vice chancellor is black, but at the end of the day, she's able to call police to come and gun down students that are financially excluded, because although ANC might say that we have NSFAS in play, we are funding the students, but at the end of the day, they are not funding the students, because you've got about 4,000 students who are financially excluded, and yet the government is not doing anything about it. But when a statue is then taken down, then we can have all this media all around it. But when students are taken out of schools from learning from a future, from becoming a PhD, from having a PhD, then it's a problem. Thank you.
I believe as a young people, we are responsible to define our own struggle. And standing here and being the part of this debate, I don't know whether after this I will be subjected to disciplinary hearing or what for being here.
I'd like to draw to the attention of the Vice Chancellor, Adam Habib, that a moratorium on the hiring of white professors is necessary. Secondly, I think Adam Habib is a great guy. I would love to grab a beer with him sometime after work. But I think his tactics of intimidation are necessary. Using emotion whilst debating is totally unnecessary. Threatening us with exclusion and expulsion is totally unnecessary, which is a daily occurrence at Wits University, by the way.
People like Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, fought for political freedom. Our struggle right now is for economic freedom. And also the freedom in terms of our minds. We need to be proud of who we are. We need to understand who we are. We are now politically free. Let's free our mind and also become economically free. Thank you.
Okay, I'm from the University of Pretoria, which I call the epitome of black slavery. It is the university that oppresses black people the most in South Africa. We're facing problems where even the staff, the ground workers, which are the security guards, the cleaners, we cannot communicate or interact with them. The university has strict laws which they have put into place that say students must not interact with those people. My father right here says the government has done something about it, which it's actually the union building very close to our institution, but they never come down. I invite all movements, Rhodes movement, I invite them wherever they are to come and join us at Black Thursday at the University of Pretoria to say enough is enough.
Can white people just stop thinking they're important? Because what Ernst is saying now, he's saying in Germany, what had to happen was that the descendants of the people that had put up the statues decided that they will take them down. He's effectively saying we must wait for descendants of white colonial settlers to come and say that they must take the, I mean, whose continent is this, guys? I mean, like, I'm very... So in closing, I'm putting a challenge. This is a challenge, Moss. You know, do not take this personally, because when we talk about these systems, white people think we are taking them personally. I am talking about a system of white supremacy, and whether or not you identify with this, you benefit from it. And so what you need in closing to do is to please open your mind, decolonize your mind. Decolonization is also for white people. Thank you very much.
When we return, the last word from our panel. I'm Master Chabaleka. You're watching The Big Debate.
Did you know Outsurance has more than 40 ways to save you money on your car insurance? If you use public transport like Kenilwe, at Outsurance, you'd pay a lower monthly premium. And if you park your car in a secure office complex every day like Bradley, your premium could be this low too. How will Outsurance save you money? There are over 40 ways. SMS car to 44010 and find out. Outsurance, you always get something out.
This year's cook-off winner is Nisha Williams. Congratulations, Nisha.
Only the best cooks serve Koo because they know it's carefully grown and made with meticulous attention. So when you serve Koo, you can trust you're serving only the best.
Unfair dismissal, wrongful arrest, blacklisting, contractual disputes, uncontested divorce, or drunk driving charges. It can happen to anyone.
Join Clientele Legal today and have a tough professional lawyer by your side 24 hours a day.
It's affordable. Plans start from 130 rands per month.
SMS plan to 48032 and we'll call you back.
All Clientele Legal plans include a bail benefit. Should you be arrested, we will go to the police station on your behalf and pay the bail.
I'm very impressed with the service I got from Clientele Legal. They were very tough and very professional.
Clientele has helped me to feel empowered.
There is justice in South Africa if you've got Clientele Legal on your side.
Professional lawyers, professional advice at an affordable price.
Join Clientele Legal today.
SMS plan to 48032 and we'll call you back.
Mama! Sikhuluma kangaka kinonje? Sihapi na mtu. Mamela, wanakhuluma ngajo.
Debatteer, Tuesday at 9:05 on E!
Stop saying my allergies. Was sweet. Speaker, you're being paranoid. Sikhulume ngoJoseph Kungani.
Know what?
I know everything. Oh, damn it, Malume, that's the type of information you need before I go tiptoeing around the house.
Umlilo, Monday at 9 on E!
Welcome back to the big debate. Let's have a last word from our panel.
Number one, black students are not the minority at the University of Pretoria. That's factually incorrect. Number two, if you make statements saying things like Africa is black people's continent and white people should behave, that in fact is racist, but I don't think you realize your own racism. Thirdly, you said you feel you want to suffocate when you hear these Mandela quotes. If you want to experience suffocation, you should try driving down the street to work every day in a street that was named after the man who murdered your brother or your mother, because that's what happened. That's what happened with Amanzin. That's what happened with Amanzin Turkey. I want to give an example of what happened to a member of ours, a white girl who received admittance to study at the University of Stellenbosch, I believe Stellenbosch. And she received a letter afterwards saying, I'm sorry, we have to withdraw you the fact that you were admitted to study at this university because we thought you were black. Now we realize you're white, so you can't come and study here anymore. But that is not on the agenda. If we want to say we want to promote equality, it's fine, but we need to make a paradigm shift. We're arguing about statistics on university level, while 80% of our primary schools are dysfunctional, while the majority of black students going to school for the first time don't understand the language that they are being taught in. So that's where the problem lies. And lastly, I was asked to change my mindset. Neither me nor
you were asked to open your mind.
To open my mind. Neither me nor AfriForum wants to stand in the way of any young black South African with their aspirations. You should fulfill those aspirations. The only thing that I'm asking for is that in doing so, we also protect minority rights, which is a basic fundamental of democracy, and that we can ensure that different communities also experience that they can prosper in this country.
And if I may just ask Ernst, have you taken away anything positive from this discussion in light of the student who said he's pleading with you to open your mind?
Well, I think it's healthy. I think we need to have these debates. I think the audience is very hostile, and it doesn't appear to be.
You haven't answered my question.
No, I couldn't. I think I would have been able to take back more if the people participating in this debate were more open-minded, were able to listen, were willing to listen without trying to interrupt me.
All right, Rhodes Must Fall. Your final words, please.
In the spirit of Rhodes Must Fall, I don't own monopoly of knowledge. I'll give my brother to respond, the final response.
The mere fact that we equate transformation with decolonization and continue to have this conversation as if it's what the Rhodes Must Fall ignited, this is not our debate. We are not here to speak about transformation, because to transform it means to adopt to a system which does not accommodate you. Secondly, I wanted to speak about, even within the movement, we have pioneered the gender question. We are beyond the statute issues. We have tapped into how we can heal our communities through our three pillars, which is black consciousness, Pan-Africanism, black feminism. This is where we draw our inspiration. And thirdly, I wanted to speak about the role of the state in the institution and our understanding within the Rhodes Must Fall that the state and its constitution is anti-black. From its inception, it was never meant to accommodate that, but to perpetuate the very same misery that we find ourselves. So in trying to decolonize, we first start from a premises that the state is nothing but a community to protect the interests of the elites. And the institution in the same thing is there to preserve the status quo in the society. So what you find in UCT that is untouchable because of private funding, because of the white interests which are pumped in this institution.
Shahira Kala, Acting President, SRC Wits.
So I think there's a number of things I'd like to say in closing. The first is that, yes, Ernst, Cecil John Rhodes does belong in our history, but he belongs in an apartheid museum. We need to contextualize this. He doesn't belong at the entrance of one of the best universities in Africa, UCT. That is a space that should be given to somebody who actually deserves to be there and who is respected and looked up to by the students at the institution. To the VC, I'd like to say that there's this constant pattern of using money and using government subsidies and the lack of those to sort of justify the place that we're in at Wits. And I don't think it's fair. It's a cop-out. Our responses to problems that are institutional and problems that are structural in our country are not good enough. And that is why we need to be throwing poo at these statues. That is why we need to be doing what we're doing here today.
Mashrubi Mabizela, Department of Higher Education.
Thank you very much. There's still a lot that needs to be done, and also from the side of government, not just generally. You may have noticed we had an advert of that had all the logos of the universities, all 26 of them, and that's the initiative from the department of trying to have to transform the system in terms of the appointment of academics at the institutions. So we're not going to be, let's stop just paying lip services. People must apply. Those who qualify to be academics, apply, go to your institution. The preference is going to be given to blacks, and the preference also is going to be given to women. And I think something that was said earlier on, we would like to hear as much student voice, by the way, as much as possible. We don't muzzle the student voice.
It is a pity that the minister and the deputy minister who we've invited were not able to come. They're not here. I mean, it seems to me that the ANC has gotten away pretty lightly, comparatively speaking.
You know, I think this is a necessary discussion, and it's long overdue. And I don't think change or transformation will happen when people don't agitate. Change must be agitated. The ANC is not at any point has been against change. In actual fact, it's the best platform that unites all the forces in our society to advance change.
I should start off with two factual issues. The first is there was a question raised about Robert Sobukwe. In 2007, by the way, Robert Sobukwe was given a posthumous honorary doctorate before I came at Wits. On the issue of admissions, we have, as I said to you, 60,000 applications, 5,800 places for first year. 75% of that is for black students and has been in the last count. I do want to end by the strategic question, which is on the decolonizing the university, is something that I would support. The real question we need to think through is how to do that in an unequal world. If you ignore that the opposite side has power, you run the risk of making huge mistakes. So let me give you two examples. One is the financing of higher education. There's no doubt thousands of poor black students are left out of the higher education system simply because of money. NSFAS gives next year 11.5 billion. That's never going to be enough. That we know. We have to rethink the financing of higher education. Wits, HISA, which is the Vice Chancellors Associations, is actually engaging at the moment with the banking CEOs and saying, can we rethink financing of higher education? Can we use NSFAS as a basis for a collateral to free up much more money. Now there's trade-offs. On the issue of moratorium of white stuff, somebody reserved it. If you do that in Wits, for instance, at this historical moment, we will not be able to make significant appointments in disciplines like geophysics, which has 2 black people in the entire country. I want to end by saying we are in a ticking bomb, and there's no doubt about it. But if we do not do it thoughtfully, if we do not do it by engaging power, we won't create a decolonized power and transforms power.
Well, the reality is that every year, millions of young black South Africans face a bleak future, with few jobs, no money to study at universities, and many who do study drop out for financial or other reasons. Will the fall of Rhodes improve life for young black South Africans? You decide, and let us know on Facebook or Twitter. I'm Masachaba Lekalake. Thank you for watching The Big Debate.